Former President Jacob Zuma has accused Constitutional Court judges of violating his rights. In a strongly worded statement released last night, Zuma says he is not afraid of going to jail and will continue to defy a Constitutional Court order for him to appear before the state capture inquiry. He was responding to calls by the inquiry for him to be jailed for 2 years for contempt. Zuma says his refusal to cooperate is his constitutional right and he cannot be punished for it. Joining me, we're getting back political analyst Professor Dirk Kotze to give us a sense of what all of this means. Professor, I hope you can hear me clearly this time around. We saw this strongly worded 8-page letter from the former president. What does it really speak to? Because he is adamant that he will not appear before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry.
Well, what this statement is repeating is his challenge to the objectivity of the chairperson, Judge Zondo. He still maintains that his application for a review at the High Court must first be completed before he will be able to appear before the Commission. In general, he has strong words against the judicial system in general. He says that, by implication, he's saying the judicial system has become too politicized, that they have become too much involved in the day-to-day politics. You even call it right at the end, the statement that a type of judicial dictatorship has developed in South Africa, which is obviously a very strong comment coming from him. So I would say in the end what he's trying to do is to say, well, I've become a victim of a process of where the judiciary has become biased, the judiciary in general, not only the Commission, has become biased towards me, and therefore I cannot expect a free and fair judgment or a court case in the Constitutional Court. And for that reason, he also didn't participate in the proceedings yesterday. So it is really a challenge, a showdown between him and the judicial system.
And how much substance is there really to his revelations, and especially considering the factions at play already in that space?
Well, he didn't really present new evidence in the statement of his. He merely made the statement in very general terms. And as I suggested now, to a large extent, it's a repetition of his arguments that he used in the past when he asked for the Judge Zondo to be recused as the chairperson of the Commission. That has been repeated in the same way. He didn't provide any other evidence except to say that it must serve before the court that will review it. And then he referred to one judge, Judge Pillay, who was yesterday part of the bench that heard the application from the Commission yesterday, and said that she has been biased in the previous judgment against him and used words that are very detrimental to his position before the court. But otherwise, there's no real new evidence, new arguments that's presented there. To a large extent, it repeats the arguments that he used in the past, which in essence are that he does not feel that the judiciary at the moment is credible, that they are objective, and that they are free, that he will have a free and fair court case before either the Commission or the Constitutional Court.
Now, the former president has stated out that he is prepared to go to prison for this, but while he clearly defies the Constitutional Court order, it doesn't mean that the State Capture Commission's court application to send him to prison for 2 years is guaranteed to succeed. That really puts a spanner in the works, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. The fact that the court didn't present their conclusion yesterday immediately, but that has been expected. They never do that, really. But the point is that it is still uncertain what is going to be the Constitutional Court's final conclusion, and what will be the conviction that they will decide on. And that can take some time still, 2 weeks or even more, before we will know about that. But the fact that President Zuma did not oppose it means that to a large extent it's a fait accompli about what is presented to the court and what the options for the courts are.
And you know, on one end, we know that President Cyril Ramaphosa has agreed to go to the State Capture Commission of Inquiry and answer to whatever he needs to answer to. And then on the other end, a former president who refuses, blatantly refusing to do so. What does that then show in terms of power dynamics and perhaps political relevance?
Yes, I think it's very important that it has been announced that President Ramaphosa will appear for 4 days at the Zondo Commission, which first of all indicates that it's not going to be just a symbolic appearance there. The fact that it's 4 days means that it's going to be a serious sessions. He will have to respond to the questions asked to him in depth and with substance. And I think it's going to be a wide-ranging interviews or discussions or questions that will be asked to him. It almost takes us back to the time in 1996 when President Mandela appeared in a high court in Pretoria in a case that dealt with the South African rugby. And it was seen as very significant that the national president appeared actually in court. So this is the second time that something like that similar happens. And I think, again, it's going to be very significant. At the same time, it's a very strong message from President Ramaphosa's side to say, well, even if I'm the national president, I'm still subject to the rule of law. I'm still subject to the authority of the Commission and by implication other courts also. And that is the message, the sort of the contradiction, the counter-narrative of what President Ramaphosa and what President Zuma has presented to us. And I think because of this example of President Ramaphosa, the public perception about what is expected of a president will certainly be very much influenced by that. So it's very negative for President Zuma, and I think it will be, irrespective of what comes out of his evidence, it is going to be quite a positive association with President Ramaphosa that he was willing to do this.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to have to leave it there. Professor Dirk Kotze, political analyst, speaking to the strongly worded letter that former President Jacob Zuma wrote, reiterating